All right. Welcome to the Golden Belt Buckle podcast. I am your host, Billy Belt Buckle. You are one of the privileged few to be here on this slowest growing YouTube channel in all of YouTube history. This is the slowest growing channel. So you are definitely one of the privileged few. And my guest is laughing in the waiting room right now. Today, we're going to talk about something a little bit more serious if we can get through it seriously. I'm not sure if me and my guest here can get through this very seriously, but it's a serious topic. We're going to be talking about safety. If you're a young driver just getting involved in this, okay, the AZ world, like I've said before, is huge, right? There's long haul, there's short haul, all the different types of trucking involved in long haul and short haul. Then you got the construction industry. You've got, like myself, I work in environmental. It's there's it's a huge world. Okay, so we're going to be talking about safety, and within the context of this, what you as a young truck driver need to understand about safety. So with that, I'm going to bring my guest in here and open it. All right, here we are. There's Mr. Shane. Now, really quick, this Shane has been driving for how many years? You've been driving, Shane?
About 20 years now.
About 20 years. I've been at it for 25 years. So neither of us are spring chickens. We've been around the block. We've seen some things. When we were talking at the start of this, I don't know why this went through my mind, but the story that went through my mind when we were talking about trucking, of all things, wasn't trucking. It was that poor kid that got killed in a grain elevator in Almer last year. You remember that
Yeah.
guy? He
Yes, I
was up
do.
there,
Yeah, he was up there. And,
18, 18 years old.
You're talking the
Had no
burial one,
harness.
right? In and
What's that?
buried. You're talking the one that got buried.
Yeah, he got buried.
Yeah.
He got
Okay.
sucked
Yep.
down.
Yes, that's the one I was
Yeah, he
thinking. I'm
got,
just making sure that we're on the same one because I know
yeah,
last year was apparently a bad safety year according to our safety guy. Uh, the not the highest deaths in Ontario, but they were creeping close to it. Like worker deaths was up 25 to 40% last year, something like that. Just craziness.
wow.
That's across the
And you
construction
remember,
board, not just trucking, but still.
yeah, yeah, but construction's related to trucking, though,
It
right?
is 100%.
Like that's why I always say that the AZ world is huge. It's not just we always think of when you think of a truck driver, you think of a guy who's just holding the steering wheel, putting on the miles, right? And
Yeah.
it's not just that. It's also construction. What I do isn't considered really trucking, though it is trucking. We do semi trucks and flatbeds, all sorts of stuff. Do you remember the circumstances with that young kid? Now I know that it's kind of odd we're talking about this. I brought this up. It's just the first thing that went through my
Right.
mind. Uh, I've got all sorts. We're going to get into all sorts of stuff about trucking specifically, but do you remember the circumstances that led to that kid's death?
Can't remember whether it was just pure negligence or him not knowing either his rights or what he was doing. I can't remember that one specifically. Like you said you were looking it up
I
or
do.
talking about it before. I can't
Yeah.
remember everything, but I know I did hear
He,
about it.
he was on top of the silo. He
Hmm.
was not wearing a harness, and he did not have a lanyard on. That's my
Okay.
understanding of
Yep.
it.
Okay.
And you mentioned you mentioned before we started this, and this is just as relevant for truckers as it is anybody else. If he
Yep.
had known this, he would still be here today.
Oh, for sure. Like just knowing your rights. First and foremost, at everything is the right to know. And I don't know where it is at your shop, what your safety boards and stuff are, but there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 poster.
Yep.
That poster needs to be posted everywhere, and that is just those four numbers. That poster is probably about this big on your wall. Read it at least once. Then you at
And the four
least
numbers. What are the four numbers? What do they say?
it's right to know, right to refuse, right to knowledge, and right. I'm bad. I know. I'm telling everybody to read it, and I can't think of the four off the top of my head.
Well, yeah, me neither, because I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting you to bring that
I
up.
know. It seems real bad.
So
Here, let's talk about this. Except I don't know what it is.
no, 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 no. Look, but the right to know,
Yes.
Right to refuse unsafe work.
Right to refuse unsafe work.
Because I remember years ago, and I'm going to do a podcast on this, where I was asked to drive on closed roads, and I wasn't asked. I was bullied and intimidated.
Oh,
And the roads, I was told by the police to get off the road. And when uh, I had to stay in a hotel, which screwed up the supply chain. Honda was very upset with us. Now our dispatcher had to tell the owner. Imagine the dispatcher probably had to deal with Honda, and then Honda probably called the owner screaming at him.
right.
Two worlds colliding. My interests and your interests. And what you mentioned was in our previous discussion, your AZ belongs to you.
That's right. So I'll go right into the story there for that one. So when I was just starting out, I was a float driver. So I would load up pavers, gravel equipment, loaders, all this type of stuff. That was my position at Huron Construction. I was their AZ float operator.
Yeah.
And so back then, that was my first real truck driving job, other than working for a couple other companies, like just hauling grain, hauling, things like that, little jobs. But so I started working there, and I honestly, I was thrown in the deep end. I had zero knowledge of what like the actual rules were for everything. So one day I was out on a Friday, and have you ever hauled a wide load? Let's just go with that.
Nope.
Okay, so you've
Nope.
never done this before.
Nope.
So if I were to tell you this, your eyes are going to go, "Oh, really?" So when you have your permits, any it's Kings Road now, but anyways, Queens roads. So number 2 highway, any 401
Yep.
operation, anything over 90 kilometers an hour
Hold
on a
on. We have
Friday.
American viewers.
Oh,
What the
right.
heck are you? You say Queens roads. They don't know what you're talking
I
about.
know. It is a thing.
Monarchists here.
Main roads, your main highways, not anything, all your divided highways, and anything that would probably be like, if you're talking, because probably people from your area, probably Ohio, 23 mile road, whole way through there, that's a 4-lane road. That would be the roads I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But anyways, roads of that nature, 3 o'clock on a Friday is your deadline. You are not allowed to haul a wide load after that.
Oh, okay. No.
See, that's the look right there. That's the one exactly I was talking about you would do. Nobody knows that unless you actually do the job. I had zero idea. With the permits we had, I'm sure you can get permits that can change things. And then I knew you weren't allowed to haul just before sunset and just before sunrise, an hour on either
Yep.
side. That's general knowledge. But like the main stuff, I had no idea. So I'm coming home with a gravel hauler, or I mean a gravel spreader on the back of my machine. It hangs over. It was quite big. I have all my lights on, all my signage, everything else like that. I'm unlocking the gate at Huron, and I get whoop whoop. It's the police, OPP, like cars touching my butt because it was like right
Yep.
behind me. And he goes, come here. Is that your truck, son?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's the truck. I'm unloading here. I'm just dropping off the weekend. Time to go home. Miller time, right? And everything's good." But he goes, "Okay, I want you to go into your truck and I want you to grab me your permits." Because he'd asked me a couple other questions. He saw my license and he's like, "Oh, you've been doing this for 6 seconds. I need to give you a small education." So go over, get my paperwork, bring it in there. He's flipping through the pages and looking through. He goes, "This is the one I want. Read this, son." So I read through. "Oh, how big's my ticket?" That was the first thought. I'm like, and I mean, you're a young driver too, so that's another thing.
Yep.
You're a young driver. You are allowed no mistakes, or you don't get insurance. And that's just the way it is. It's the industry. It's everything else, but that's the way it is. You can get no
You've been
blemishes.
driving for 20 years, so you must have been. You say you were like 20.
Oh, I was 20. Like this
You
is
were
like
already
right when I
having a hard
started.
time. You were already having a hard time being insured by anybody.
Exactly. Right away,
Yeah.
you're already in trouble getting insured, and then you get a blemish on your mark, and you're done. You just are like no companies, unless you're going to those companies,
Yeah.
are gonna hire you.
Bruce R.
So
Smith,
yeah,
way back in the day.
I didn't want to say it.
They're out of
But
business now, so it doesn't. I don't. Like just to know,
yeah,
we're not like you talk about Huron Construction. We're not like. I'm sure they're not a horrible company. This is just sometimes interests collide. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
we're not
and
like
from the company that I started with at Huron, it's technically still Huron named a little bit, but it's
yeah,
now 4 companies deep from the company that I worked for. Like they've
yeah.
been bought and sold a long ways away.
Huron's gone basically. Then
Huron's
when
gone. It's now Cola who's basically running
okay,
them now. But I just didn't know, and I was young and stupid. And he educated me. He gave me a lot of stuff, and he said, "Just look, son. On Monday, approach your boss and tell him what happened, and say, here's the thing, lay it out, and that you will not do this again. I'm not going to give you anything. I know exactly." He basically told me, he's like, "You get this ticket, you're done." He says, "You might as well
lucky.
pack your bags." Great guy. Can't say anything else about it. He's awesome. Helped me out quite a bit. Monday morning, I go back to work. I go to tell my boss this. My boss was a trucker, or did this type of job about 20 years before I did it. So rules aren't the same. Everything's different. Everything's different from 20 years ago from when I started to now. Like you've
Yep.
seen all the changes.
Yep.
But anyways, so I went in and he's like, "Well, when I was a truck driver, I did this and I did that, and you don't want to work, and blah, 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 blah." And he's yelling at me and stuff like that. So I
You're the
flipped
only
out.
one. You're the
Oh,
only one. They always do that
yes.
too. They isolate you. You're the only one that
That's
doesn't
right.
do it.
You're the one who won't do it. Oh yeah, it was exactly that. So you've had this conversation.
I've had
But
this
anyway, so
conversation.
that's the same thing. So I mean, that was when I was, I mean, you know me now. I'm so calm and collected. But
Of course you are.
so
That's why you were at karate the other night.
yeah, exactly. So I lost my mind and I yelled and screamed at him until he was at the bottom of white bread line in the ditch. And like I said, I'm foaming at the mouth. Like it was, I'm surprised they didn't put me down like a rabid dog. But I was so mad at him and stuff like that. And then I took my license out of my pocket and I threw it in his face. And I said, "What is the name on that license?" And he just looked, he's like, oh, I said, "Read it, and you read it right now." And like, again, this is so, I'm not touching you, but it's right in your face. That's about how far it was. And he's like, "Well, it says your name on it." I said, "Yeah, you're right. It says my name on it." I
Yep.
snatched away. I'm walking down the road. I'm going to my truck. I had my other boss, and he was a shorter fella. He was a small guy. He takes me, guys, by both my shoulders and turns me specifically so that I can't. So my back is to my boss, so he can hide
Yep.
behind me. And he goes, "Okay, that was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. Go
Yeah.
sit in your truck. You're not fired. That was pretty damn funny. Good thing, stand up for yourself. Just go have a break." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Fine." But and I did that to this guy twice. I threw my license at him 2 times because it's the same thing. He's like, "You're gonna do this, you're gonna do this for the company," and blah blah blah. No, Shane McKeon on my license, not here on
Yeah.
construction.
When you tell me this story, there's two things that go through my mind. Okay, I wrote them down. If you see me
Okay.
taking notes,
Yep.
sometimes I
No.
take
No.
notes.
Yep.
The first one, I'll spit these both out at you.
Okay.
First one is how detail oriented you got to be. That's, and as a young driver or now a new driver, like I have the taste of being a new driver when I became an environmental, when I got into that, because that's way different than drive in. I got my paperwork, basic
Yeah.
pre-trip, down the road, fine. But when you work in an industry, if you get into construction or environmental, there's so many things that can go wrong. It's just a different ball game, and for you to be a new driver to have that thrown at you,
Yeah.
that is just because there's stuff you can think you're having a good day and you're not. You've already screwed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
And then,
and even pre-trips. You talked about pre-trips there for a minute.
yep.
Um, it bit me in the ass just the same because so one day we had a big part. So we were here on construction was a gravel company as well, and so they had a crusher that exploded, and they needed to take the parts to go get them fixed. That nothing's
Or
available
what
around
was
here.
that exploded?
The crusher, the cone crusher. So it's just a
Crusher.
big. Basically, it's
Crusher.
just
Okay,
two
gotcha.
pads that do this and crunch
And
the
what does
stone
it
more.
crush? Stone.
Yeah, it just crushes the stone. It's basically so it sits like this. It sits and it crushes the stone into smaller stuff. I always made big
Okay.
rocks little. That was my
Make,
job.
make big rocks little.
Make big
Gotcha.
rocks little. I was
Yeah.
Fred Flintstone. So
Yeah.
so they had it. So it ended up breaking. They were able to load it on the parts truck and take it away. But they needed chains. Well,
Okay.
guess whose chains they took? Mine, and
Yep.
didn't tell me. So I had no chains in my truck, pre-tripped my truck, but didn't check my toolbox, and
Yep.
drove to Wheatley.
Yep.
And then I had to load machinery with nothing. Like
Yep.
these, it's the little things that always, that's why I wanted to bring that up. So it's the little extra that
No,
you got
no,
to
but
do.
that's the way it is. When I was doing drive-in auto parts or produce way back in the day, it was very simple. Just make sure you got a load strap with you.
Yeah, yeah,
You get doing When you get into something, any kind of business that offers multiple services, you will have stuff missing from your truck that other people took to go on another job. And
yep,
you really have to make sure that you check everything. Like
yeah.
you need to, okay, what's the job I'm going on? And then you got to run it through from beginning to end. How are you going to do it? Do I have everything I need? Because just the other day I forgot my work phone. Well, how am I supposed to fill out a
Yeah.
manifest without a work phone? You need your tablet.
Well,
So I
that's
screwed
yeah.
up. But
And that's kind of what, yeah, that's what I was getting at. So it's all those little things, and then so that's the mistake I made younger too, right? So I didn't know.
I
You're
make
new to
them
the
now.
industry. That's well, you still make them now. I've gone without my paperwork, without my traffic plans, without my this or that, or oh, I get to the whole job site and I don't have a drill. Look through the
Yeah.
truck. Drill was there yesterday. Not there today because I didn't look.
But the second thing more pertinent to this, so you got the attention to detail, like doing things illegally. You did something illegal because you didn't pay attention to your permit,
Yep,
which, by the way, if your employer asks you to do something like that, green book.
you're
You
covered.
cannot, I'm pretty sure that the illegal activity is covered under unsafe work. I'm pretty sure the cops will agree with you on that.
Pretty much.
And then,
You're still gonna get smacked. Ignorance of the law doesn't help. It really
no,
doesn't. That guy was helping
no,
because the reason why he helped me is I was at the shop.
yeah,
I was there. I was done. He decided that he wasn't going to make my day terrible. I do appreciate it still to this day. Appreciate the hell out of that. Like he didn't
what
kill
was
me.
the
Like
officer's name?
I cannot
The
remember
Chatham
now.
Kent?
Oh, no, OPP. That's why he knew
OPP.
the. That's why he knew those regs. I
Yeah.
don't think you'd find the CKPD would know the as big like the major road ones. So
Yeah.
it's just not their
So
field. I understand that.
the second thing that went through my mind, just as pertinent to this, you're talking about the fact that you had to have a direct confrontation with your boss, and you had to throw your license at him, right? Because he's not getting it, right?
Yeah.
The whole "you're the only one, you got to do this, you work for me," blah blah blah. Those are all standard tactics. I sign your paycheck. Um, you're the weakest link. It's all standard. So professionalism. You know, I place a big, like, even this podcast is professional. We try to be professional. I want to be professional. Earl Nightingale said the difference between a professional and a grunt is the professional creates. This is an act of professionalism. By the way, if you ever start your own podcast, I'll go on it. But
Perfect.
um, not sure why you'd want me, but I'll go on it.
Ah, sure. We can
So
figure it out.
yeah, figure out if it's something I can do. But anyways, you try to be professional with people, right? You try to be, the whole, you take courses on diversity, equity, inclusion, all this stuff. You
I've
take
been
it,
at it
right?
too.
We have to
I've
take it.
done it too. We've all done it. Don't
Yeah, we've
nobody
all
can.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not, but you take all these courses on how to be polite with people, people skills, all that, and you know, there are times you cannot be nice. You
Yeah.
can't, because the person that you're dealing with has thrown professionalism out the window, and the only way to get them to get it is by showing your teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. And like, so we were talking about like professionalism and all these courses and stuff we take, but I'll tell you through that course, and the same with you're going to tell me the same thing, is that course is for everybody that we don't work with.
It
That
is.
course is not for the guy that I work with. Because the guy that I work
Yep.
with, all the words I say to him, I can't say not just on a podcast. I don't think I should say them in polite company. But
Yep.
but
Yeah.
that's the way it is. It's not the same when you're dealing with the customers, you're dealing with a boss, but it is, it is what it is. But it is something to say that to go like, yes, the boss is not going to be as professional as you have to be with, the guy you show up. Like you suck people's ponds and everything else and do all this stuff. Like I see taxpayers when I'm
Yeah.
out and I
Yep.
get yelled at. but I'd be professional. Most of the time, a lot of times when it's a customer, you're getting yelled at and all they want to be is heard. They're never usually
Yep.
pissed off at you.
Yep.
Bosses are pissed off at you. Everybody else is mad at you. Customers mad at the boss.
You know, in my opinion, people skills should be taught to truck drivers. All the training you get is how to be safe on the job. But in my mind, I've often found that truck drivers, we end up being liaisons between the customer and the company. And you know, you'll hear your higher ups, they'll say, you're the driver. You do what drivers do. You pick things up, put them down. You know, you be a good little robot. But guess what? I find the customer, yes, they want to be heard. They don't care about your company policies or
No.
protocols. They're if they see you, you got that name right there. You're the target, and
Yep.
because the company's not getting it, so here's the driver. You end up being the blasting post for them. Uh, or usually, actually, I've never had a bad customer, but like I've never had someone go off and cuss and swear at me. But I know when they're angry.
Oh,
I can take that back. I'll send messages out or whatever. But there should be like I've taken my own training on customer relations just because
right.
I know, and our company has great courses that are on customer relations that should be probably offered to the drivers. But yeah, it's like you say, they're only offered to the office people.
Yep. They don't ever show them to us, really and truly. Like you got to figure it out yourself. And like I say, your coworkers and your customers are very much of a different conversation. But so you're talking about angry customers. When I worked for Somerville, we were building the windmills out in Ridgetown. So I don't know where you stand on that or anybody else, but there were people that were so mad about windmills, it was insane. So
Yep.
we would get people who would like pull up to job sites and come within inches of us with their cars to
Yep.
scream at us. And
Yep.
so one day I had a guy. I was out working by myself, kind of towards the end of Number Three, just about the edge of Chatham Kent. I was all the
Yep.
way out there, and this guy comes up. He does that. What I said. Pulls a car like dead in front of me. Dead stops. Flies out of the seat. What are you doing on my property? Blah, blah, blah. And we were just cleaning up. We had buried cable, so we were
Yep.
doing reclamation, like fixing
Yep.
everything at the end. And he's screaming and yelling, I don't want this windmill. I don't want this cable, blah, blah, blah. F this, F that. Blah. He's screaming at me and yelling at me. And I don't want these eyesores. And my biggest thing at that time when I was working there, if I had other bosses or I was working with the crew at the time, I would do this. My hat's yellow. White hat's that
Yep.
way. Go that way. I don't need to
Yep.
talk to you at all. You know what? I don't get
Yep.
paid for this. He's over there. But that
Yep.
day I decided I'm like, nobody's here. I'm gonna take it on my own accord. So I
Yep.
look at the guy and I'm just trying to calm him down. And the reason why he didn't like it, and this is the whole thing, and 99% of the people who didn't want windmills didn't get a windmill, and that's why they didn't like them. If they got a windmill, they were happy.
Yeah.
If they
I
didn't get
I
a
actually
windmill,
I had a farmer tell me they were pissed off about the windmills because they thought it should have been a co-op. They thought
yes,
that the windmills, if it's going on their neighbor's property, they thought they should be entitled to part of that paycheck because they're like, the wind blows over my land too.
yeah, oh
Well,
yeah,
guess
I
what?
heard
Well,
that.
then what about me?
Yeah,
I've got land. What about my little acre and a half? It blows over my property
yeah.
too.
Now, any of those
I
people
want
who
my cut.
possibly, yeah, any of those people who possibly said that to you probably live on the Drury, 40 Highway, and I'm trying to think of the other road, but there's 3 or 4 roads that they pay them because the dump's there. So they
Oh,
want the
okay.
same kind of thing like what you want for windmill. The wind goes by, the garbage goes by, the wind goes by, so I want both.
I won't say that it was near my house, but it was
Yeah.
somewhere. It was
But
somewhere
anyway,
near
so
my
with the
house.
guy who I was talking to, I get him I didn't I was calming him down and I was winding him up at the same time. But we're standing out there looking out over, so we're on the ridge, looking down towards Ridgetown. So out there, I don't know, and even by your house too. There's always the
Mm,
main power lines. The
yep.
main cable power lines, the big towers, everything else like that. So I'm looking off in the distance and I'm pointing. I said, these are eyesores. What about those over there? And he's looking, he's like, well, what are you talking about? I said, no, right there, right where my finger is. Take a look right down there. Like, what do you mean? I said, the power lines. What? I said, you didn't see him, did you? Because you didn't care, because they haven't been there for so many years. Windmill goes up, you're never going to notice in about a month, man. Get out of my face.
Yeah. Yep,
He's like,
that's right. Yeah.
But people don't
Well,
think like that, right? They're
yeah.
just mad because,
Well,
and I did. And at the end, I finally got it out of him that he didn't get a windmill, so he was angry. And I sent him away. I'm like, I don't supply them. I don't have the windmills. Go talk with somebody else. But I hope I have made your day better. Like,
usually when we get our slice of the pie, our
yeah.
politics change.
Oh, big
That's how
time.
it works, right?
And
All of a
you're
sudden,
not
it all
wrong. You're absolutely
it's
right on
true.
that.
I got my slice of the pie, so you little people, just you got a bad attitude about the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I completely get that. But that's with my customer service. That was a lot of my customer service, basically just telling people I don't work here. Or I just work here. I don't have a clue.
but you mentioned like the way you deal with customers and coworkers. Like I find that everybody gets a different version of me, and coworkers get a different version of me. And I've had stuff happen in the yard. Um, bring it back to the safety thing. Like I when I was hauling auto parts, I had a driver get in my truck. He didn't like where it was parked. He got in my truck and moved it without even checking to see where I was before.
Mm,
We had some words, and I ended up calling safety on the guy, and nothing happened. It turned out I was behind the truck. He didn't know if I was under the truck.
yeah.
He didn't know if I was in front of it. He didn't know if I was behind it. He just got inside my truck and moved it. It was the guy was normally a friend of mine, I
Yeah.
thought, but he wasn't very apologetic about it. And I figured, that's a I mean, that's a safety hazard. You don't go into
Oh,
somebody's truck and just start moving it. But though it's these little freak accidents, like you
mhm.
talk attention to detail, these little freak accidents that we don't think about too much when we're on a
Right.
job that could get someone killed.
Yeah. So pinballing off of that one. So you're specifically talking about trucks, stuff like that. So we were taught when we were being a loader operator, when you're being a loader operator, you either have full eye contact with the person or you at least see where that person is at 100% of the time. Because that person could have gotten the back of the truck, went around the truck. Like when you're loading anything in a vehicle, especially like ours, aggregate, it's all aggregate. That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable to a point when you're putting it on a
Can you
vehicle.
please define aggregate?
Would be like it's anything from soybeans to gravel to rocks to dirt. That's anything you're moving like that. That's kind of a loose material would be defined as aggregate,
Okay.
aggregate stone and things like that. And so it's slightly unpredictable because physics is unpredictable. Like you never know. Like if one stone hits this stone, hits that stone goes way the hell over there.
Yep.
There's no rhyme or reason that you did, but that stone can bounce off something else and go 20 feet and you never noticed. And there
Yeah.
could be a guy there. So
Yeah.
we were always told, like with your saying that story, that's why it bugs me just as much as it would have bugged you. Is you were told when you were in a truck or moving vehicles, if you did not see the person, this is what you're supposed to do. You put your hands up in the
Yeah.
air and you just wait until that
Yep.
person sees. And when people go out,
Yep.
like when I load other people's trucks at work, even or any work anywhere, it's either if I'm not looking, I'm parked. And
Yep.
people will come up to my vehicle, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I said, get in your truck. I want to know to the letter where you're at.
Yep.
I need to know. It's like a physical, but it's safety. It is safety, but I need to know for my own well-being so I don't kill
Oh,
somebody.
yeah.
And
At
I
the end of
don't,
the day, we're all going to work and we all go home.
we all want to go home
That's
at the
the
end of the
goal. We
day.
all go home safely. It's just a job,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the closest call I ever had, I had oh my word, this was scary. Um, oh, I heard about it too. Well, I didn't hear about it from the person directly because I think they were in shock. I heard about it from my okay. So I had a brake chamber when I was working on a Saturday, and I was just killing it. I was working too many hours. I was legal, which we could talk about the logbook.
Mm.
I was legal. I was exhausted. I was really pushing it, and I came in on a Saturday. Brake chamber broke. Had to call a tow truck. He came to do a repair. He did a roadside, so he comes to do the roadside, and he's under my truck, and I'm in my truck. He's under my trailer. He's working fixing it. And I heard him say, okay, something about, I thought I heard him say move, that like he was done. I thought he was done. I thought I heard him say move or go ahead or whatever. He didn't say go ahead. He just wanted me to tap the brakes. He was under there. So
Yeah.
I started I inched forward, and in my brain, I was like, "You know what? You should stop because you didn't see the guy." I stopped. The freaking guy, he came out from under my trailer without any clue what just happened. He didn't know my thought process. He didn't
Right.
know that if I had just got a little bit lazier, I'd have drove him over him.
Yeah.
And just so I could earn an extra couple of $100 on the weekend, he could have lost his life. Because I don't think I was 100%. And when I analyze that, what's screwed up is I shouldn't have been in that driver's seat. I should have been back at the back communicating with him. I should not have been in that truck with the key turned or anything, whatever, unless he wanted it turned. But I
Yep.
shouldn't have been in the truck. I
Yep.
should have been at the back communicating with him.
Like this. Hands up.
Yes, don't touch nothing.
Don't touch.
Eh,
Hands up.
That's right. So I didn't hear about it right there. Like he got out, I was like, "You were under my truck?" "Oh yeah, it looks good, man. It looks pretty good." I said, "Dude, I almost ran you over." You did?" "No, I'm good, man. You didn't run me over." So then I he worked for Chatham Towing. Okay. So he worked with my friend's husband, and he went back. I guess he's like, that mother effer almost killed me. He was just going off about me at his thing, eh? And I don't know if they ended up calling our safety department or what, but I got told by my friend's wife, I'm like, I'm really sorry. I got a bit defensive too. I was like, why didn't he like? He didn't communicate with me, but really,
Yeah. Oh, it's all the way around. I mean, as much as you were in the wrong there, he was in the wrong too. He should know. He's got to see you. It's all the same. Like when you're talking safety, especially when around in and around equipment and in and around trucks and everything else like that, you don't see somebody, you don't move.
yeah,
Me or you. Like
yep,
either way, if I'm standing outside your truck, if I'm your backer, if you lose sight of me, you stop. That's the
yep,
rule. That's what you're supposed to do. And whether everybody will sit there at work and stuff like that, and oh, you're safe backing. Yeah, this is it. This is what you got to do. Blah blah blah. You hear it in your head. You hear what you got to do. You got to do it. Like
yep,
people get hurt because you get complacent in just hearing it out loud
yep.
in
I s-
this in
I
the
saw
trainings.
I saw a young guy. I was delivering mushrooms. I was in Vaughan, where there was a guy from they're from Leamington Highline. I actually think I know the guy that was there was the driver and then the fellow that was opening his doors. They were backing into a really dark area to like they're backing into a dock. It's a place where I went as a I can't remember the name of the mushroom place, but they canned mushrooms. And I watched this guy, this young guy, he had to be about 20 also. He ran between like as the truck's backing in, he jumped between one truck and the trailer that he was backing in between. As it would, he was within a hair of getting. You get what I'm saying? The picture I'm
I
painting, right?
know
He was jumping.
100% what you're saying, and that just makes me sick to think. Like I'm just thinking of the smear. That's in
Yeah,
my
he would have
mind. I'm
got
thinking of
smeared
this. Yeah.
because it was
Oh,
tight. He
yeah.
just he ran and jumped and just stupid stuff like that. And you think, in Leamington, I think it was Leamington, they actually had a guy get crushed in the dock.
Yep. Yeah, they've
As a
had
dock
guys
washer,
there.
right? What's that?
Oh, I said, yeah, that stuff happens all the time, and it most of it ends up being complacency in the end with yourself. But the safest person to do something with is yourself. You got to be the number one on it because nobody else is looking out for you.
No, that's right. We
And
had. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say that's so being on being a road worker and doing some of the things that I've done, like flagging traffic and being out in the 401 working and like being out of a vehicle on the 401 standing there doing stuff is scary as all you could believe. But you got to think in the end, there is no one on that road. The lights, the signs, the sirens, the cones, everything else The only person that is looking out for you and looking at you is you. No one
Yeah.
is looking for you. And what I was told the first day I got on the job for any type of construction holding the flag was, here you go. Here's what you need to do. And just remember, everyone is stupid and trying to kill you at all times.
Yep. I'll tell you something. You are holding a flag. When I'm driving down the road and I see a flagger, do you know sometimes I I don't always see the flagger. Like like my favorite flaggers are the guys that do
I
this.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they see it coming down the road
Yep.
and they're waving their sign because that you know what that when they're holding the sign stationary, sometimes depending on the lighting outside, all you see is they look like a part of the equipment or something. They don't even
Yep.
look like it's hard for me to describe, but it's hard to see them. But when you see somebody doing this,
Hmm.
you know, and I know that can get tough when you've been flagging all day. You don't
Oh,
feel like
it's
doing that anymore.
yeah. Like now
But
they're changing. I think they're changing the rules. It's definitely out west. I don't know whether it's coming here or not, but like, so the chartreuse green and the yellow, that's gonna be. They're gonna apparently, can't say for sure. I don't know when, but I've heard the legislation's in place and coming that all your cones, your orange, and your signage, everything's gonna change from that to either the green or the yellow. So
oh,
it's
okay,
it's going to end up being better for everybody. And then probably in another 10 years, they'll change it right back because it'll be the same thing, right? You get complacent. Like you've seen an orange sign your whole
yeah,
life.
yeah,
But when the guys came out within this year, the big pipeline project that they did, Union Gas there, Wallaceburg to Leamington,
okay,
so they're pipeline guys from out west, and they brought their equipment, and all their stuff was green. It slowed me down.
okay,
It really made me go,
yeah.
"Huh, that's I've never seen that before," and slowed right down. I mean, I'm good for slowing down. I want everybody to get home, like we've reiterated
It's
several
funny
times. I want everybody to get home. I
you
sometimes
say
get
that. Sorry, let me back up for a second. You
yeah,
talk about the difference of the I don't mean to cut you off.
no,
The little changes I noticed in Ohio, the construction workers started wearing different PPE. It
yeah,
was more like they were more shiny. It was like from the knee down to it was special boots or what the whole boot was like green. I don't know. I can't explain but they looked. I was like, I did it. Yeah, it made me do a double take. Like, okay, there's something's different here,
something's
right?
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
complacency.
and that's why I think it's just going to be like it'll be flip flopped. Like even if they did it every 5 years, I think that wouldn't be a
Yeah,
terrible thing. As long as you got the stuff once, you're good, and then you just flip it back and forth, and it helps. It helps people see things because it's complacency. You're driving, you're complacent. Everywhere in your life, you're not seeing. You know, you see the same thing every day. You see an 80 sign every day. That sign goes away tomorrow. That 80 sign's still there. As far as
yeah,
you know, that sign's still standing there. That sign's been in the ditch for 3 weeks. You haven't noticed because that sign was there every
yeah,
day for a month. That
yeah,
sign is
yeah.
still there tomorrow,
That's a
but it's
really
not.
yeah,
It's been gone and
yeah,
taken away. But if they change that sign to a red sign, like that, you'd notice it.
yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a really you say the sign is still there in your head. That's like
Sign
some
is still there. The
metaphysical
sign is
stuff.
there.
That's
It's
like some Jungian stuff going on there. Like what
well,
you know?
no, I'm going to go with that science because technically in your brain, everything this way is not existent. Nothing in your
Okay.
mind from this point in your peripheral and everything else like that. Apparently, this is how your brain functions and makes it. Is everything here? Never really there. Nothing that you can't technically see is ever there in your head. But when you turn around, it builds all the stuff that used to be there is already it goes back to what it was. Oh, but it's like you can move something, and that's why you don't notice when something moves. Well, I've put it there 20 years of my life. It'll be there tomorrow. But you
Well,
put
see
it.
now you're
Go ahead.
bringing up like it's almost like psychology meets safety. Like
It
there's
it
probably
is.
I guarantee you there's some really bright minds that are taking all of that into account
Oh,
when they
exactly.
come up with a
Definitely
safety
people that are
course.
smarter than I am thinking about this. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's um.
that doesn't
So
take much.
you no, not really. I mean, average intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Like I did a little bit of a deep dive on what it takes to be a CEO, our CEO, and that he's not in the same league as me. There's a
Yeah.
reason he's the CEO and I'm at the bottom.
Yeah.
Lots of reasons. Intelligence is definitely one of them. we won't get into that. But
No,
so
yeah,
okay, so let bring this back then. Your CVOR, you threw your license, right? Your license was at stake because your employer asked you to do something stupid,
yes,
and you were a young driver. CVOR is important to me right now, but it's more important when you're a young driver because you're just looked at as dangerous. So your CVOR, if you wreck your CVOR, do you agree with me when I say your CVOR is like one of your only bargaining chips that you have as a truck driver? If it's even a bargain, even call it that. It's like a ticket, right?
clean license is your goal. That's going to get you where you need to be. The cleaner you are, technically, the better companies you're going to work for. In the end, like that's how it's going to work. If you're a junk driver, like there was guys out of Windsor, and I don't even want to say the company, that were all just cowboys, but they didn't
Yep.
care. They just pay the fines and move on because they could pay them no money because they were all full of fines. Their CVR was
Yep.
shot. I'll pay you $15 an hour because you can't get a job anywhere else. Have fun.
Yep.
Here's your
Yep.
junk.
They can hold you hostage almost,
Oh,
right?
pretty much. They had these people just buy the short and curly. So like they can't that's why it's your bargaining chip. It's what you need to do in order to
Yeah.
keep it from if they come to you tomorrow and say you need to do this, you need to haul this load of something that's completely illegal and going to be way overweight and weigh everything else to where you can
Mhm.
go no,
Yeah.
Shane McKeon. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
that's
mean,
right.
people have told me after the fact of all this that it was something, it was brave or whatever. Really and truly, I was just a young and pissed off kid. But, and that was really all it was. Like people go like, "Oh, you stood up for yourself. That's great. You need to stand up for yourself." And yeah, you do. I did it the wrong way. I will fully admit I didn't do it properly.
Are you sure though? Because if he
Well,
kept pushing back on
he
you,
kept pushing
like,
back. He pushed me in a corner to where I couldn't do it. But in reality, I should have went somewhere else. I should look. This is what Billy wants me to do. No, I should have went to his boss, and I should have went through it properly. I shouldn't have had to
yeah,
fight my own battle, but you learn that over time too.
yeah.
That's
No, and
another thing.
there's according to the Green Book. Look, there's the one thing to know: you have the right to refuse. Legally, you cannot be punished in any way for refusing unsafe work, and that's what young
Yes.
people need to get.
Yep. They have
There's
to
a
know that
process.
that is not a thing. So they need to know that they refuse unsafe work. I will go through again. This is another story with involving flagging and stuff like that. So we had students that were going to flag, and
Yep.
they were going to put us out. I think it was Highway 3, somewhere up there. But I mean, there was fog, like how far I am from my camera right now, you couldn't see. Just
Yep.
completely dense, dead fog. We're trying to go run a gravel crew, and they want kids to stand on the road. They stood up, and they're like, "No, I don't think so." And I stood behind them. I'm like, "They're right. Nobody moves until something breaks up." Well, the boss comes, starts throwing out. Well, now you have to fill out a work refusal report. Okay, so they do that. About 20 minutes later, sun comes up, crystal clear. I refuse to go out on the road. You got to pick your battles at that point. I
Yep.
don't think they wanted to do it at all,
Yep.
and they were using this as an excuse. But
Yep.
once it cleared, it was good. So you can
Yeah. Yeah.
refuse, but you have to be smart about it. You can't refuse
Yeah.
because yes, it's slightly unsafe, but they go, okay, well, I'll give you a harness and a second guy and something else. No, it's unsafe. Well, yeah, you might think it's unsafe, but if they've done the steps to make it safer, you have to give.
Yep.
You can't.
Well, I think that's presupposing the Green Book too, because it talks a lot about good faith, right?
Yes, that's
The,
thank you.
the Yeah, good faith. The protections aren't there for you to abuse. It's
Yes.
assuming every party is acting in good faith, and I think that's where, uh, once the ministry gets involved, 'cause it's the ministry that comes in and gives the final decision, right? Like if you're the worker and you're not acting in good faith. You,
So depending on the company, yes, in the end that would go to the ministry, like it would go further beyond and it would go to the ministry. But like from the
yeah,
start, like most of the time, like you were talking about your safety officer, it would go to the safety officer. Safety officer would come out, assess the situation, say, okay, what would make it better?
yeah,
well, they already offered this, but I still don't think it's safe. Well, why isn't it safe? Because I don't like heights. Well, no, that's you not liking heights.
Yeah,
That's not the job is unsafe.
yeah,
That's your
yeah,
don't like it. And I
yeah,
mean, places will make accommodations for that type of stuff too. They don't want the guy up there because that's me
yeah.
shaking while you're trying to do something, and you're,
In that case, that's your coworker saying, "I don't feel safe working with this guy."
yeah, then that would be
You could
smarter.
just you
There,
could just
no, you're
cause
not
problems.
wrong there. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
work with shaky.
that's right. That when I used to do tobacco, I remember they started me out on the trailer. Actually, they started me on the third tier. They put me on the third tier, and they're like, "You're supposed to lift between your legs, lift the
Yeah,
tobacco up." Huh? I was
standing on your
holding
two
on.
by four.
Yeah, I'm holding on because my legs are shaking. Right, I'm just constantly shaking. I'm handing them up. I'm handing them up these things, and then they put me on the second tier, then the first tier, then on the trailer, and then I made my way out into the field because I just I couldn't do the whole no hand. Hey, look, no hands. I
Yeah.
couldn't hand up, so. But anyways, yeah. All right, we're getting on 46
Yeah,
minutes.
we're
I
getting
think
close, so we
that is
can. Yeah.
we can wrap. I think we should wrap this up.
All right.
I hope
I'll see you for
everyone
part
watching
two.
this.
No.
Yeah, part two is gonna. I'm actually gonna do. I'm gonna do a podcast. I think just on this green book right here,
Yeah.
joint health and safety, all this stuff I'm nerding out on right now.
Yeah.
But uh, before we go, I hope everyone's enjoying this. Hope everyone. Maybe you're not enjoying it. I hope you're being informed by it, and
That's
I hope
yeah. That's
everyone.
at least it can be
Yeah,
informative, hopefully, and somebody can get something out of it to where you don't. How do I put it? Just because you stand up doesn't mean you're going to get canned. Everybody's
yep,
afraid of losing what they got, but death is permanent and a job is temporary.
yep. And if you don't stand up, you might get stuck
Yeah, there
at a
forever
crappy
too.
company longer than you
Yeah.
want to be,
Yeah.
because your CVOR is garbage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would you like to say? And give me a final thought about. Actually, let me put this out here for you. You give me you bounce off, and then
Okay.
give me a final thought. Young people are and anybody who's new at a job, they're way more at risk of dying on the job than people who have been at it for a while. Those are statistics I read a while back. Um, bounce off that and give me a
Yeah.
final thought.
So I'll bounce off that a little bit. It's both ways, actually. When you look at the statistics, it's starting out and finishing. Those are your most dangerous times when you work, period. Because it's no knowledge and complacency. And that's how both of those end up working. And that's why on both ends, you're either going to get hurt at the start or get hurt at the end. Because by the time you're 30, 40 years into a place, you're doing sketchy things. Everybody does. Everybody knows it. You can lie. You can say all you want. You've all done sketchy stuff because you've done it all your life. Oh, I reach into that machine every day. Well, one day it's going to catch your fingers. But so, like, just you got to protect yourself, go home at the end of the day, and realize it's a job. Yeah, getting fired sucks. Yeah, like having to fight with your boss because you're trying to be safe sucks. But when you get to go home at the end of the day and have every digit on your hand, have all your feet, your knees and back hurt because that's just being a person in the construction in every field. But you know,
Mm,
at least you can go home with a strong back, saying, "Well, I did something and I got to keep my hands." So it's a
mm,
good day. But you got to stand up for yourself and you got to be safe. You got to cut in the corners, regardless of what the old guy tells you to do, because he's done it for 30 years. He's gotten lucky for 30 years. He's,
so one last thing. Sorry. Do you, I've last couple companies I've worked for, I've served on the health and safety committee. I'm on it right now. I'm on the joint health and safety committee. Have you ever served on one or?
I have not. I've had a few interactions with him. I've had a few interactions with OSHA and other things like that, just in general. I have probably a TSSA file that's like this thick, but that's a
Do you need
transport.
to serve on a, do you need to serve on a health and safety committee
I need to serve.
to
I
be able
am
to
the health and
enforce your
safety committee.
safety?
But no, like I've just talked with them and I've just
No, no,
worked
say
with
that
them.
again. That last thought, what'd you say? Because it was good.
I've just talked with and worked with him, but what was I talking? No, I lost my train of thought.
It's something like
Um,
I am my own health and
I am
safety
the health
company.
and safety report. Yeah, that's it. But no, I've had things like I have standard operating procedures that are the Shane procedure because of things that I've done that got me injured. That I needed, that I have an SOP that says my name on it, and a video and everything on how to do it properly because I did it wrong.
Yep. Wow.
But yeah, oh no, I'll tell you about that one. Like, that one's not for TV, but but
That'll be
yeah.
for
So I
another time. What would you say to your kid when because your kid's going to be in the workforce in just a few years here? What are you
yeah,
going to say to him when he?
I'm gonna tell. Well, I'm gonna tell him the same. I'm gonna say you need to stick up for yourself and things like that. But my boy is going to be entering the workforce next week. He's going to be an umpire, and I'm going to get a shirt that says I'm the umpire's dad. All the questions come to me.
Yeah. So you're going to be his health and safety committee.
A little bit. I will be his health and safety department for at least the first couple weeks.
I was an umpire, and he better take a health and safety course before being an umpire. I did umpiring. I'll tell you, I've never felt so much. I umpired girls' games in Merlin, and I thought I was going to die. So anyway, on that note, I think we will cut it off.
Okay.
We'll end it. You can get on with your night. I'll get on with my night,
Yep.
which means I'll end up editing this and uploading it.
And I will go
But
make pizza.
you're gonna be at karate on Tuesday?
I will be there Monday, alive and well, as
Monday.
long as I don't
Monday.
kill
Sorry,
anybody.
Monday. I don't. Oh, yes, I'll be there this Monday, and I'll be there. I won't. I'm having cataract surgery on Thursday.
On Thursday. Ah, so you
Next
won't be there
Thursday, believe.
Wednesday.
What's that?
So you won't be
I'll
there
be
on the
there Monday and
Wednesday.
Wednesday, but
Yeah.
the following week,
Oh, that's too
no
bad
ma'am.
too, because that's brown belt night.
Yeah, it is. It sucks, but
Yeah.
I'm 45 years old and I have freaking cataracts. They're on my left eye. They're going to remove it. And what's really, you know how I'm getting old because I'm talking about the type of lens I'm going to replace my lens with. I'm like, yeah, for 450 bucks, I'm going to get a high definition, or if I spend 2,000, I'm going to get this. This will be great. Distance, intermediate, close. So I'm getting old, man.
Yeah. Well,
The gray hair gives it away, but
yeah,
I'm
really.
getting new eyes.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I
anyway,
could use those.
I think if you get a lens replacement, I don't think I'm going to need glasses ever again. In that, I don't think I'll need a touch up or anything unless I get secondary cataracts, and they'll have to fix
Well,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm just,
All that stuff.
I don't, I hate glasses. Anyways, we should have brought that up as a safety issue.
Well,
Anyways,
yeah.
all right.
All right. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
Shane.
Nice to talk to you. Nice to
You
talk
have,
to everybody else.
yep.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Shane. Take care. Bye. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you wouldn't mind, definitely comment, subscribe. If you want to be on here, if you want to talk about a safety story or anything like that, please send me a message. Message me. The email address is right there, going across the bottom of the screen right now. I'd love to have you on if you want. You want to have a chit chat. Anyway, till the next time, keep the rubber side down.